Chapter 6. Having clicked the hall door closed, Francis's feeling of unease suddenly came to the fore once again. The beam from the headlights as the car approached sprayed reflective patterns which danced sprightly on the wallpaper. Perhaps the nervousness of the whole surprise situation was getting to him more than he would have normally expected, but he definitely felt that all was not as it should be. The crunching of the tyres had now ceased, and all that remained was the sound of an engine idling outside, and the spray of a bluish neon hue which was emanating from the side lights. Standing there in the dimly lit corridor, Francis wondered why it was taking so long for Vasil to turn off his engine and head towards the house. The door to the hall where all the guests were waiting in darkness slowly creaked open behind him, and he spun round to see who it was. "Melissa, he's just parking his car. Is there something wrong?" he asked. "No, nothing's wrong, it's just..." She paused. "What is it?" he asked. "Two of our Russian guests are twitching the curtains and taking a look outside. I don't think they like the darkness in here." "Raise the dimmer a little bit then, but keep them away from the windows. They can't be seen." "Okay, I'll try," she said, retreating back behind the closing hall door. Quickly putting his eye up to the peephole of the door, Francis frantically strained to see whether anyone had stepped out of the stationary vehicle outside, but it was not in the field of view. Pulling the window curtain aside next to the door, he could see the outline of what looked like a black Mercedes-Benz parked. The tint of the windows meant he was unable to see who was inside, and fortunately neither could the Russians, who were probably still observing from the hall. The engine was idling in the background, but the snowfall, which was becoming ever heavier, was hindering his view of the vehicle or any chance of catching a glimpse of the occupant. It seemed an age as Francis stood there waiting for someone to get out of the car, which was standing with the engine and lights on. A sudden silence and darkness from outside, and the opening of the car door revealed a figure in the falling snow, which by this point had become somewhat incessant, raining down in large raggedy flakes. Now approaching the house, the large stocky figure wearing a long dark coat could be heard as the fresh snow crunched underfoot. The security light flashed on, revealing Vasil. He seemed quite taken aback by the brightness. Overcoming the initial shock of the light, Vasil rapped on the door. Allowing a few seconds, Francis turned the lock and allowed Vasil to enter. Smiling, Francis quipped, "Hello there, come in, you're totally covered." Thank you. Unbelievable weather." A sudden dip in the volume of Vasil's voice. "Is everybody here?" "Yes, everybody, even your people and the Russians. Are you all right? You seem a bit edgy," whispered Francis. "No, it's okay. We need to talk urgently. I don't think I can even speak of it with you here. We're in danger. If my people find out what I've become involved in, I'm finished," he said, quaking where he stood. "We have to go inside," whispered Francis. "We can't stay out here. It won't look good." Leading Vasil down the corridor and towards the hall, he felt his heart pounding against his chest. What could Vasil have to tell him that could possibly be quite so alarming? Opening the door to the warm low glow of the dimmed lights, Francis hesitated a second before stepping through, considering for just that one moment the possibility that the secret which Vasil hadn't had the time nor inclination to divulge to him was already common knowledge to certain guests within the room. There was nothing that could be done now, as they would have seen Vasil approach the house from his car. For him not to make an appearance would be the final straw. At least Francis thought if he and Vasil were in danger, they might be afforded some immediate protection by the presence of all the other guests. The light switch was flicked on, and a rapturous applause and general cheer rose from the guests. "Happy birthday, Vasil!" was the cry in unison. With what Francis had just been told by Vasil, the occasion for the whole function couldn't have been further from either of their minds. The warm reception received when entering was as if they had jumped into an ice-cold plunge pool when expecting a hot cauldron. The automatic, instinctive response was an immediate smile on both of their faces. Vasil, quite shocked at the number of people who actually turned up for his supposedly surprise birthday party, was greeted by everyone in turn as he walked through the hall full of guests. I hope you have plenty of room in your boot for all your presents, Vasil, said Melissa, pointing at a table in the corner, covered with gifts of all shapes and sizes. What an amazing surprise! Thank you, everybody! The genuine look of shock and bemusement on Vasil's face complemented the facade which was in play. Now circling the room, full of chattering, increasingly intoxicated and loud guests, Francis and Vasil ensured that everyone got a moment with the man of the hour. Vasil needed introduction to a few of the guests with whom he was not acquainted, however the general atmosphere was collegial. "I'm just going to pop to the bathroom, I'll be back shortly," Francis told Vasil as he turned, leaving the hall and climbing the steps towards the upstairs bathroom. Francis was met by Melissa, turning the corner to return to the party. Nearly bumping into one another, Francis grabbed her with both arms to avoid one of them falling back down the stairs. "Oh!" she exclaimed. "Sorry, Francis, I was in a rush to get back down there, just checking on the children." "Is everything all right?" asked Francis. "You're shaking?" "Yes, everything's fine, it's just Patrick. I'm not sure whether he's coming down with a cold." "Really? He seemed fine earlier. Perhaps it's all that time we let him spend outside this morning. I told him to wear gloves, but he doesn't listen." "Do you think we need to call the doctor?" he asked in a concerned tone. "I've given him a couple of tablets, but if he isn't better by the morning, then maybe we should," she replied. "Listen," he said, pulling Melissa by the wrist back down the corridor and lowering his voice. "I don't want you to overreact to what I'm about to say, but I want you to take the children, go out through the back entrance in the kitchen and drive to the embassy. I'll phone John and let him know that you're on your way." "What's going on?" she asked, with a look of bewilderment coming over her. "It's nothing serious. I know it's late, but I want you to go before the snow makes the roads impassable." "Okay, if you say it's so important, we will go, but it will take me a few minutes to get some things together," she discontentedly muttered. "Who's going to look after the guests?" "Don't worry about anything. Just hurry. Call me when you get there so I know you've arrived safely." Francis realized that he had to get back downstairs soon in order to avoid drawing unnecessary attention to the fact that he had spent an unnaturally long time answering the call of nature. As he waited at the top of the stairs, he heard the sound of two disgruntled children being made to put some clothes on. Melissa had been very prompt in throwing a few items into a bag and was shooing the children from their bedroom. "Hey kids," he whispered, kneeling down. "You need to go with Mummy to where Daddy works. You can sleep there tonight, because tomorrow morning some people will be coming early to decorate your rooms." The children, ultimately disinterested and extremely drowsy, nodded their heads and both threw their arms round Francis's neck, saying, "Okay, Dad." Picking the children to their feet, Francis leaned forward to kiss his wife before all four of them crept down the stairs. Catching a glimpse of the bleak weather from the gap in the curtains, Francis waited until he was satisfied that Melissa and the children had had enough time to get into their car and start on their journey to the embassy. Hearing the sound of the engine receding at the back of the house, he took a deep breath and turned the door handle. Hi, my name's Antony Botting, and I'm the author of the Pebble in the Dark trilogy. If you'd like to hear more of this story, please subscribe to this channel and ring the bell below. See you next time.